Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take number one of two of the day. I'm Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and today we've got 4 great decks for you, a bundle review, so much more. My friend code if you want to do that shop linking thing. Let's kick it off, though, with a list that I had to put at the beginning because I couldn't risk this getting buried. This is the coolest discard list I've ever seen in Marvel Snap. Jet does it again with a Phoenix Force discard list. This list is all about basically discarding over and over again, ideally Scorn and the Swarms. And as you can discard them over and over again, they get huge. It's free at the end of the game. You grow your Morbius, you grow your Collector, and you are able to just go off in an absolutely incredible way. Along the way, you have a bunch of really good statted cards. You get your demons, you get your Colleen Wing, you get your Swordmaster. All of these are just good stats. Hell, even Blade is pretty good stats for a one. And then you just drop some massive power at the end. Jet is like Phoenix Force in everything right now with Misery, and it's so cool. So you can find Jet streaming all the time at Jet13 on Twitch. Please do check him out. He's absolutely incredible. One of the most creative and best players in the game. And he's just started streaming, so any extra support would be welcomed. He is currently a top 10 ranked player. He was number 2 ranked last season and has been number 2 again in a previous season, like the second season of the Infinite Leaderboard, like in October or November. So this list needs Phoenix Force, Misery, Gwenpool, and Scorn. I know that's a bunch of high series cards, and there's no real replacements for them, but it does actually need those specific cards. Sorry. Luckily, I told you, if you listen to this channel, to buy Misery. I told you Misery was going to be in a ton of meta decks. This was going to stay a powerful card. Gwenpool was a season pass card. Phoenix Force is another season pass card. So if you buy your season passes, you got Misery. All you'd have to have gotten is Scorn. So at least there's that. If you must play this list, though, you do have to have Scorn. This list is too cool. I needed to get in front of people. So this is again currently in the top 10. Turn 1, you want Hood or Blade if you can hit Scorn or get your first Swarm trigger, that's fine. Turn 2, you want Collector. Colleen if you have Scorn is perfectly fine here. Turn 3, you want Swordmaster of Scorn. If not, you're going to play a 2-drop. Turn 4, you want Phoenix Force on some of your discardy stuff. Or you can play Swordmaster on or you can play Swordmaster, or you can drop Gwenpool. You can also drop that Phoenix Force on Swordmaster and Blade and just Misery them all and get a million discards on your stuff. You can also Gwenpool is a ton of power. If you know you have Scorn in hand, if you know you have Swarm in hand, and you can get that Gwenpool now going, and you can Phoenix Force that and a bunch of discard on the next turn, you're going to town. So turn 5 is Misery. If you can make a giant Phoenix Force, a big another Gwenpool hit or discard like your entire hand, you play Misery. That's basically your goal here. If you need to Gwenpool now, that's fine if you played other things earlier, etc. And then turn 6, you drop buff Swarms, you drop Scorn, you drop Morbius, and you are all over the place. You have so much power all over the place. This deck doesn't love all the Shadow King all over the place, but it goes wide enough that that's not generally game breaking. And unless you get hit with a Cosmo or an Goliath, well, I guess not really even a Goliath, unless you get really hit with a Cosmo or like an arishem Goliath, you should be able to put up an absolute insane amount of power. So after this, we're going to talk about DottGeo's deck, where he is bananas. So one last look at this. This is the coolest discard list ever. Is it the best discard list ever in Marvel Snap? I mean, the classic discard is probably significantly easier to play and will have a similar win rate for most players, but if you learn the ins and outs of this, if you get good with this is so cool. Like, you gotta love the originality on display from a player in the top 10 in creating this masterpiece of a list. If you want more absolutely insane lists that you're going to find here before anywhere else, please hit that sub button, like, and comment. We bring you at least 7 weeks every single video. The last 2 weeks we did 9. This week we're going to end up doing 8 videos. If you want more top-notch Marvel Snap content with more top decks than anywhere else, please hit that sub button and help us out. We're trying to hit 15,000 subs by the end of the year. A like and comment also tell the YouTube algorithm to show us to more people, which is yet another massive benefit if you're willing to do so. They can also enter you to win an Agent Venom Season Pass. On Sunday's video, I'm going to announce the last Agent Venom Season Pass winner for this season. Cool? All you have to do is be subbed, like, and then later this video, I'm going to tell you to make a comment, and that comment enters you to win a Season Pass. Next week, we're going to start giving away 5, you got it, 5 of Surtur, the next month's Season Pass card, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. We also have a Pokemon Pocket channel. I won my first tournament. Go check it out. Links in the description to the video. All right, DottGeo's bounce. So you might not know who DottGeo is if you're a newer player. DottGeo was the number one ranked player in January, and around January, the Italian players sort of took over the meta. They became extremely competitive. DottGeo was ranked first, and then in February we had multiple tournaments. We had our Snap Grand Prix. We had the sorry, Snap Grand Prix was like a month later, but we had the Johnson Cup, which is like a global tournament of different teams, and the Italians dominated and crushed all of it. Geo won the Snap Grand Prix, and Bounce is his best and favorite deck. So whenever a new Bounce card comes out, whenever a new thing that might go in Bounce comes out, I suddenly get a message from Geo, who still plays, not as competitively, he doesn't grind anymore, but I still get a message from Geo with this is the list. And Geo's bounce list remained my most successful. He's a bounce genius. His bounce decks are very often a little harder to play than others. This isn't as going to be as straightforward as some you'll find, but I played this one all day and I had a massive amount of success. The big problem was someone stuck Spider Ham in their list, and Spider Ham was really, really annoying. But outside of Spider Ham causing me a game or two here or there, this list was incredibly strong. I was able to beat a triple Shadow King. An opponent had a triple Shadow King, and they still couldn't beat me with this list. It just puts up so much power in so many different places. Cool. All right, so you can find .geo on twitter.com/.geo. He used to stream, he used to be all active. He's not really anymore. If you want his decks, this is the place to be. You need Black Swan and Agent Venom for this list. I usually say you can place Agent Venom with Bast, but it's way worse. I guess that's still technically true, right? Like you can replace Agent Venom with Bast, but it's way worse. Get Agent Venom, y'all. It's a really good card. Black Swan is an absolute requirement in Bounce now, even more so than ever, because it used to be 2-cost Beast and Falcon, and now it's 3-cost Beast, which is sort of rough, Toxin and Falcon, and for both Toxin and Falcon, you really want that Swan. Sable and Nico are the best one-drops, but they can be Hawkeye, Iceman, Spider-Ham, anything along those lines. If you don't have Toxin, please run Mysterio, and Hitmonkey can be Sage just fine. I know that's not an ideal replacing Series 4 with the Series 5, but that's the only thing that can really replace it. You can also try Werewolf, but Werewolf doesn't work as well in this version because of Iron Man. All right, so .geo is the all-time Marvel Snap bounce goat, best bounce player in the history of the game. No offense to many others, Gnome, Husky, Lambie, etc. Some other incredible bounce players. I think Geo is the single best bounce player in the history of Marvel Snap, by a fair margin. When he wants to make a bounce deck, when he plays bounce, he's the best. So turn 1, you want Sable or Hood. Turn 2, and you can like just cold drop Hood now. You used to try and hold Hood a little while to be a little careful sometimes. Well, you got 3 bouncers. You don't really have to do that anymore. You should almost always see one. Turn 2, you want Agent Venom over Swan over ones, and Agent Venom is a snap condition, but it is a more dangerous snap condition than it used to be because everyone's countering bounce this week. That probably won't be the case by next week, but for the time being, it is worth knowing. Bishop is your turn 3 play. If not, you're going to play a 2 and a 1. Turn 4 is your last chance to Black Swan, so play Black Swan for the love of God. That's often, again, your second snap condition. And this is where you want to bounce. You want to make sure that you're playing one of your 2 bounce cards here. You can also, when you don't see Bishop, use turn 3 to bounce, right? And then you should be totally fine. You can use 3 to bounce, and then you just have yourself a nice big old, why is the name of this card so hard for me? Toxin, and you'll be totally, totally fine. So you do a 1 in that, and then you're just like, great, I got rid of my Hood, and then you can play like your last Black Swan, and then replay a couple of those ones, and then you can play Iron Man. If you don't draw Iron Man, you can rebounce with Beast, and beasting that whatchamacallit, that Toxin. Again, I don't know why this card is a nightmare for me to remember the name of for no readily apparent reason. I've been playing it all day. But you can rebounce that Toxin with Beast on either turn 4 or turn 5, and then you can replay Toxin, particularly with Hood, and create like a 10 or more power Toxin, and then like that's the power Bishop was going to give you anyway. That's like a really good Werewolf trigger, right? So that is what makes this card so good. It's an enabler that ends up with near payoff stats if you can use it twice. And then you end up with Monkey and free ones to end the game. Sometimes that will even be like one lane where you go Hood and then you Toxin it away, or like you have a Hood and like another 2 power like nice cheap thing, right? Like a thing I did was Agent Venom got hit with a Scorn, so I bounced that and the Hood, and got an extra 4 power um on my lit up on my Toxin. Cool, and then I just had a like 13 power Monkey. Nope, never before has a deck more been in love with Nico's copy spell, by the way. Being able to copy a nice big Toxin with its extra power is great. Being able to play a Monkey a little bit early and copy even like a 7 power Monkey is through the roof power. This list is amazing. It's really, really good, and I hope you check it out. So this is the current bounce list that DottGeo sent me. I've got yet another version from another top player of this tomorrow, but we've got another cool thing to do with Toxin that we got to talk about right after I tell you where you can watch gameplay of these decks. You can check out the Stream Team. It is Thursday, so that means the King of Canada, that's right, the King of Canada on Twitch will be streaming these decks. Please do check him out. Wednesday, Game with Flash X streamed yesterday's decks and should have a YouTube video about them later. Check him out. All right, top player thoughts of Toxin before we get to our second Toxin deck. Every time a new card comes out, I spend that Thursday asking every top player I can find what they think of the new card. So Sizer, the current #1 ranked player, #1 ranked in December and July, #2 several other seasons, one of the best players in the world, says decent move bounce, but nothing groundbreaking. The only place he tested it was move bounce. He's been playing nothing but move. So good to know that this does not break move bounce, even though it is good there. The problem with move bounce, or the big problem that move bounce has right now, is that everything is running Shadow King, everything is running hard counters, and it is an extremely counterable deck. The regular move decks are significantly harder to counter. They, in fact, run the counters of like Cosmo and Eliath. This deck doesn't, therefore Toxin doesn't put that deck over the top. Abra, the current rank 3 list, says it's solid in Ika's list. That's the next list we're going to talk about. Mediocre in Clog, good in Bounce. But Bounce dies to control, so it's not necessarily great right now. So Abra fundamentally has the idea that this Toxin is a relatively good card. Derek, the number one player in both the August and September season, and #2 currently, might catch Sizer, might not, says good, but a bad meta for him. Makes nice, simple sense, right? This is a good card, but the meta is not speaking to Toxin's power. Barzy, the current rank 5 player, says amazing, I'm in love. Barzy is the player for whom we have the second deck to feature for you tomorrow. DottGeo says Beast is you remember DottGeo from like 30 seconds ago? DottGeo says Beast is better than Falcon because of Black Swan, is better than Toxin, but consistency of having the ability to make sure you hit one or two of these is incredible. So DottGeo thinks this is really, really strong. I think the balance again between payoff and enabler is really great here. Safety says he hates him because of what he does to the game, and what he does to the game is create a meta where it's all about points and control cards, and Safety wants to be more creative in deck building, and so he doesn't love it. This is deck building corner. Safety created the Slayer Blade deck, the Professor X Ravonna deck. He's created numerous top decks in Marvel Snap. Speaking of numerous top decks in Marvel Snap, it's W. W created Doomwave. He created several of the meta Thanos lists that were top throughout the years. He created a lockdown list that was tops. W says this is a solid 2-drop for a meh deck. This will be played for a long time because guess what? That meta deck will be meta at times. Cool. So this is going to be a really good 2-drop in very specific decks. Ika, another top deck builder, he created the Blink Leech Claw deck. This is probably his most famous creation. Says amazing bounce tool with potential for more due to cost. Makes sense to me. The 2 costs that lets it be played in more than bounce, while it has really good stats for a 2-drop, is quite good, and I think there is something there. I think Ika is likely correct. But number 4 in a previous season, tournament killer, but says staple bounce card. Jimmy Dickens, another former top player, and Meta, another great tournament player, says great if a little clunky and meets expectations. Cavallo disagrees, says it's got great consistency, but it's not needed, but that which makes it overrated. Dickens and Cavallo are fundamentally looking at the expectations of this card differently while agreeing where it is in the meta. Good. Johnson, the great Johnson, Korean player who you may know as one of the top players in the world, he organizes the Johnson Cup and a million other awesome tournaments, says only a small amount of positive power to bounce. The problem that bounce has isn't power, it's Cosmo, Storm, Legion, Eliath. This card is only for bounce players because it doesn't solve a problem for the deck. So unless you absolutely love bounce, you don't really need it. I love that. TLSG, one of the biggest and kindest YouTubers, hi TLSG, says this is like Scorn or Shaw except for bounce. It's useless outside of bounce, which I don't think I agree with. We'll see that next deck. But this is like Scorn or Shaw, where if you like that deck, you need this card. If you like discard, you need Scorn. If you like Surfer, you need Shaw. If you like bounce, you need Toxin. Get the pattern? And the person who is the most positive, DottGeo, Barzy, and then the third most positive is Avazord, the great Avazord Brazilian player who's got a YouTube coming. Go check out Ava's YouTube. 10 out of 10, I love it. 2 costs like Old Beast gives the opponent too much to counter. Now they have to counter 3 bounce cards, and it's really hard to counter all 3 at the same time. So, of the people we're talking about, the biggest bounce players, at least from my experience with them, are DottGeo, Barzy, and Ava, and all 3 of them love it. And the people who aren't bounce players think this is a solid card. Do you like bounce? Go get this card. I think that's a fair thing to say. If you don't like bounce, feel free to move on. Unless you want to play this deck. This is Ika's Mill Bounce. This is sort of a evolution of the Wiccan Mill Bounce that Den played in the Creators Cup tournament, which we featured, I don't know, the beginning of last week. This is keeping the Misery for Mill thing. I think Misery is just a required Mill card. I don't think Mill is very good without Misery. And then instead says I can get more bouncing because I have Toxin. Between Beast and Toxin, I can not only multiplay Hood to get demons, right? I can multiplay my Yondu, my Cable, my Gladiator, and get a lot out of that as well. As my phone thought I was talking to it, excuse me. All right, so twitch.tv/IkaMTS is where you can watch Ika stream. Ika is, again, brilliant at this game. And you can bully him. If you go watch Ika, please do go watch Ika because he's wonderful. Go bully him for having M&M's hair. All right, so you need Misery and Gladiator for this list. Again, I don't think this kind of deck was really even close to being good before Misery, so you need Misery. Gladiator is also great. Grandmaster can be Absorb Man. It's worse, but it's fine. Toxin can only be replaced by high series cards on, I think, Zemo or Red Guardian. Zemo is pretty good, though, so like if you replace Toxin with Zemo, you're perfectly fine. And then Spider-Ham can be Silver Sable or Iceman. All right, Ika was a rank 49 last we checked in. He climbed 12 ranks. It's really hard to climb when you're that high up. Just so you know, the higher you get, the harder it is to go up in ranks. So Ika went from 49 to 37, which is pretty damn good for this list. You have to retreat when this list doesn't do anything, but when it does things, it does very powerful things. So turn 1, Hood or Yondu, depending on what you're looking for. If you have multiple mill cards, go Yondu. If you want to start getting demons, go Hood. Turn 2 is Cable. Turn 3 is Beast over Gladiator. And that could also be your Toxin turn. You can play like that second of Hood or Yondu and the Toxin at that point, and then you can Beast it later. That's perfectly fine. Turn 4 is to replay your mill stuff, or you can Misery a bunch of your mill stuff. Then turn 5, you play Magic and Grandmaster, or Spider-Ham, Grandmaster on one of your mill cards. Like a Gladiator is really good here with your Magic. Then turn 6 is your last mill if you got Magic, whatever the last like good cards you have are. If not, you're going to Shadow King and Shang. And if you have a 7th turn, you're going to save up, and then you're going to Shadow King and Shang. And that's how you're going to win, because your opponent's not going to have any freaking cards, and you're going to have cards. And almost all of these cards have power. Toxin ends up a 2/7, Beast has 5, Gladiator has 8. You have at least 2 demons most of the time. You got a couple of their cards from Cable that will be good, and then Shang and Shadow King, and you just have enough to win. Really cool list. Props to Ika for coming up with this awesome one. All right, season pass question. Well, first, the fake question is: you want a friend code in the online shop? This is my online shop. Tomorrow, i.e. Friday, at some point during the day, I'm gonna go buy something so that you can get whatever crap you need from the shop. You know what I mean? Like when I buy something, you will all get something, I believe. So I'll do that at some point tomorrow. But the question I have for you is: do you buy in-game or from the Marvel Snap web shop, or do you just spend no money on the game? I'm just curious what your general spending habits are, the general spending habits in Marvel Snap are for my audience. And then why? Why are those your habits? Cool. Answering that question in the comments enters you to win a season pass. All right, we have the Void Claw Vengeance. It is a nullified Wolverine for 3,500 gold. This is a better deal than Token Tuesday by a reasonable margin. Thus, it is a good buy. Is this an amazing buy? Is this one of the best buys? No. This is about the same value, I believe like 2% better than the previous Kitty Pryde gold bundle, but the Kitty Pryde gold bundle had the added benefit of coming with a Series 4 card. This comes with I don't even know if Wolverine Series 1 or 2, but a much earlier series card, so it is not quite as good, but it is a very cool variant, and it is a perfectly good buy. So if you're in the mood to spend some gold to get some progression value, if you have a use for those 3,000 tokens, there's a card you've been eyeing, and it helps put you over the top, feel free to grab this one. But also be forewarned, the old variant shop opens up in the game today. What do they call it? Collector's Vault, where they're opening up the old bundles and selling those for gold. So you're going to have to choose what you want to do with your gold, buy some old bundle stuff, or buy this. If you want progression, the answer is easy. Get this one. We're gonna finish with Regis Sugi, and I can't type. This is Revis. Revis, not Regis. Regis is the biggest Marvel Snap content creator. I talked to Regis forever before recording this. Regis is great, and when I went to make this list, apparently I was still thinking of the person I was just talking to. But this is Revis. Revis of that old Sarah deck that was the best in the game around December fame. This is a meta deck. Like, period, straight up, this is a great deck, and people need to be playing and respecting this. This Daredevil and Supergiant is the meanest thing in the world when you're running cards like US Agent, Negasonic, Man Thing, and Echo. Like, it's just so mean. Like, all right, you Daredevil, right? And then you play Supergiant on 4. Hopefully you have priorities. That's what the Lizard and Hydra Bob are for. Your opponent plays an Iron Man. Okay, so let's just drop a Negasonic there, right? They don't like that's Iron Man's not going to reveal until the end of the game, right? But you have priority, so that Negasonic's still going to reveal first and blow them up. Awesome. Or you drop US Agent there, or they drop a few little things in a location, Man Thing, or they drop their Monkey or Sage there, Cosmo, or they drop their Iron Man and oh my God, I didn't see Negasonic. Well, I have priority, Echo. That'll be handled. On top of that, you play Hazmat at the same time. You then play Ajax on turn 6 with Who Cares, Hydra Bob, or whatever. And then you get a huge Ajax, and that other lane that should have been a loss just becomes a huge win, and you go to town. Wonderful list. All right, you can find Regis at twitch.tv/RevisMS. He's one of the best players in the game. Like, he's phenomenal. He gets overlooked way too much. Go check out Revis. You need Supergiant, Ajax, and Man Thing for this list. Hydra Bob can be Shadow King or Hawkeye. The reason Hawkeye is if you play Hawkeye early and then you play the card on it, it's 4, and you really want priority. Shadow King is just really strong right now, which is why US Agent could also be Shadow King. All right, so Revis's top 8 tournament deck. Turn 1 is Hydra Bob well over Echo. You would like to save Echo for that Supergiant Daredevil trick. I mean, honestly, you don't really even need Supergiant for it, right? If you just have Daredevil and play Man Thing, you can still Echo whatever the hell they're playing, as long as you have Prime. Turn 2 is Daredevil over Lizard over US Agent. Turn 3 is Luke over a bunch of 2s, and your whole goal is to get Prio in case you want a Supergiant. You can also, if you got Daredevil out, just Man Thing, and you don't necessarily need Supergiant, depending on what kind of curve they're playing, and if you can figure out what they're going to do. Turn 5, Daredevil tells you what you, they, Supergiant. Woo, good typing. What they're going to do, so you can so you can play under their Supergiant and win. You can sort of win either by Daredevil or Supergiant. You don't always need both, but the opponent will be terrified with both, and your snaps are more likely to get easy retreats. Look, Daredevil is often a snap condition, Supergiant is often a snap condition. US Agent and Man Thing, Negasonic, Echo, whatever cards or combination of cards you need to play, plus Hazmat is your goal on turn 5. Then turn 6, Ajax or Man Thing and a 2. I love this list. Props to Regis for coming up with one of the coolest lists in Marvel Snap in a long time. I'm so happy to see Daredevil back. I'm so happy to see Supergiant back, along with Negasonic. Come on, play this list. Question of the day, friends. Kertix Lee asks about variant reroll, a season pass perk. So the variant shop doesn't reroll. You just get what you get each day. If you buy the season pass, maybe even a perk for the premium season pass is you get a once a day reroll of that shop. I think that would be an amazing idea, and it would keep me checking Marvel Snap more often. It would also make me buy the premium season pass almost every month just for that one little perk. So that's a great idea, and I hope the King of Questions question gets through. Let me do the thing, asks what personal success looks like on the channel, given that I have no interest in going full time. Both a union VP and a full time teacher, never going full time. What does success look like? I'm going to answer that first, then there's a secondary question. So I've succeeded in this channel far more than I ever thought I could. I started on March 6th of 2023. I believe it was March 6th of 2023. It's now, I don't know, October 23rd, so it's been a year and 6 months, 7 months, something like that, right? I gave myself 1 year to hit 10,000 subs. Sorry, to hit 1,000 subs. I said, I'm going to do this for a year to see if I can get monetized. I was monetized in like 3 months. It's been well over a year. I'm about to hit 15,000 subs. I am more than happy. That might not be big for like, I don't know, a like major video game channel, but in this community, I'm one of probably the 10 biggest English speaking creators right now. Success be far beyond my wildest dreams. I've been able to help a ton of people. Um, I'm not going to say anything, but like whether helping people get to see their kids when they couldn't otherwise afford to, paying for therapy for people when they couldn't otherwise afford to, Just helping people when they're in and out of work when I can. I can't always do that, and like that's part of why the like monetization of the channel being killed for a while. It might be back. We're gonna have to wait and see. Um, Hurt so bad because like I bought like three things. I guess I bought more than three things. That's not fair. I bought like three video games and I bought a Steam Deck with my money from this channel. And I bought Metaphor Refantasio a few weeks ago. That's what I bought with my money from the channel. Almost everything else has gone to like the community, outside of like food, I guess, has gone to back to the community or to general family stuff. What does this allow me to do long term? I'm actually trying to save up a little bit. I've got 13 years left till retirement. I plan to do this basically for as long as my mind will let me, as long as you guys will have me. Guys, gals, non-binary pals. As long as you all will have me. Used guys as a non-gendered thing, and that's unfortunate. But my goal is upon retirement to have bought land and built a house in this valley in Colombia. I've seen Encanto. It's that valley. Um, Build a house, all the modern conveniences. We can buy a big old house relatively cheap. The money I make right now on this channel um, would be more than enough. We've just started saving up when we started hitting certain thresholds of this pay. And yeah, I'm hoping that we can do that upon retirement. I think that'd be a really great way to live out my twilight years. So that is my ultimate goal for this. That wasn't even a twinkle in my eye when this started. It's just we were in Colombia and we were having an amazing time, and I realized that this could be my life when I'm done teaching. It would be a nice big house so that potential plenty of visitors. I can come back whenever I want. Honestly, the money I make from this is enough to make an excellent living within Colombia on top of what would be my pension and everything else. I might have to travel for medical stuff, but it seems like a great idea to me. So that's my dream. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I hope that this is a doable dream. I hope I'm not being George and Lenny here, but like these aren't white rabbits. This is something we're actively building and planning towards. And, here's hoping. DG Wingfield and the Pixel How Cow debacle. Apparently, I called Pixel How Cow ridiculous, and I owe my friend David an apology. Pixel How Cow is wonderful and beautiful, and those udders are just a work of art. Don't know how else to say it. Does that make you happy, Dave? All right, let me know if that was good enough. I think that was fun. All right, so we're gonna fly through Patreon. We've got some new patrons, we got some new things to say, but we're gonna fly through because it is already almost midnight, and I've got a second video to make and work in the morning because OTA day, friends. Second video, don't forget. All right, so thank you to Abigail Gleason, Mentor Burnout, regardless. David G. Wingfield, oh shit. Direwolf, LAB, who's always kind. FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer Inc. I am Frostman. I sent the code, right? Jay, Never Eat, Corwin, Primed Ryan, thank you. Burke, Ryan Burke, Carrot, Tix Lee, The King Questions, Query, Black Dahlia, Pyro, Rofros, hey Pyro, The Goat Seeker, Den, Man, Falcon, Archangel 3K, Hollowed, who's crushing it with move bounce. I think he's doing better than almost anyone in the world. Quid Pro Joe, Doc D, the Kingdom World Card Content, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Ginger Prime, Philip Ratkovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, our new friend, Black Jeebus 23. Welcome aboard, Black Jeebus. X Force V and Skippy G rhyming friends. We are hang on. As of recording, we are 4 days from your birthday, my friend. We're almost there. 3 more days. Coming soon. Tommy Nyquist. Thank you, Tommy. Hope you're doing well. The King of Bros, bro. The Great Kazoo. Jessica Gamble. Hey, Jess. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that show you watched. All right. Woody. Ryan Wood. I just realized there are 3 Ryans. Apparently, Ryans like me. Thank you for liking me, Ryans. Kev C. Hoda. It's been like 6 months of this, and I just noticed. Luna Chris. John Q and Jimmy McHugh. The smallest members of Q-Town. Clam. 8th Sage. I should add the exclamation point for Clam. 8th Sage. Mod Supreme Models. Green Goblin, thank you so much. Steven, Brian Kaufman, and Tristan H. Martin. Jason B. The Fuzzy Dunlop. Spectrumix. Hoot. We spoke earlier today. Matt H. DJ. Mikey Hijinks. No frickin' flex. Ocularis. Hey, Ocularis. Mr. Craig Sterry. BG. The King of Canada. Make sure you check out his stream later today. Jonesy, the King of the Triple Threat. My friend Two Ties. Former teach. The great Lauren Devs. The Pirate King Tuccrr. The homie Min, who actually just left us because he stopped playing Snap, but the homie Min, who we will always miss, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for, it's hot, I'm tired, I'm doing the second video, I'm taking my butt to sleep. I'll see you later on today for a second Snap take. Don't forget to sub, it's right below me. There's a Pokemon video, there's another Marvel Snap video, click them two. Peace.